Chatting with Jeffrey Dahmer on a Ouija board, fighting with Kelly Ripa, and blending in with furniture. From tanning salons to the U.S. Senate, here's the untold truth of Patricia Krentcil, aka Tan Mom. Back in 2012, Patricia Krentcil, who quickly became known to the world as Tan Mom, was a New Jersey homemaker, raising 5 children. Then she was placed under arrest and charged with child endangerment based on accusations that she placed her 5-year-old daughter Anna in a tanning bed. Krentcil was adamant that she was innocent, telling the New York Daily News, "It's all made up. I'm not dumb." In fact, while Krentcil conceded that she did take her daughter with her to the salon, she insisted she never placed her in the tanning bed. The whole thing, she said, was a misunderstanding that came about when a school nurse took Anna's declaration that her mother took her to a tanning salon as being the explanation for the child's sunburn, which had actually resulted from playing and swimming outdoors, not from a tanning bed. Krentcil told NBC New York, "I tan, she doesn't tan. I'm in the booth, she's in the room. That's all there is to it." Ultimately, a grand jury opted not to indict, but not before the experience made the woman who came to be known as Tan Mom infamous. Reflecting on her arrest and the ensuing ordeal in 2022, she confessed to Insider that being caught up in the media frenzy about the case nearly destroyed her. She said of her treatment by the media during that time, "They took my whole soul. They took my energy." During the period after her arrest, when she became branded as Tan Mom by the media, Krentcil's life was thrown into turmoil. There was a period where paparazzi and TV news crews staked out her home to the point that she was hesitant to go outside. A truly unfortunate turn of events for such a serious sun worshiper. She told NBC News after the grand jury decided not to pursue an indictment, "I've literally been stuck in my home for the past year. No matter where I go, everyone knows me. It's very uncomfortable." Yet that wasn't the only fallout from her arrest. According to a report in the New York Post, more than 60 tanning salons had banned her from utilizing their services, with some salons even displaying FBI-style wanted posters of Krentcil to ensure she wouldn't be served. One salon manager told the outlet, "We don't tan people like that." Speaking with Us Weekly, Krentcil admitted that the most difficult part of her ordeal was the impact that it had on her children, revealing that her entire family became pariahs within their community. She also spoke about her newfound infamy to the New York Post, saying, "It went global. There are no words to describe what happened to me and my family." In 2012, Patricia Krentcil was booked as a guest on Howard Stern's SiriusXM talk show. Stern has long had an uncanny ability to transform some of his quirkier fans into niche celebrities in their own right as members of his whack pack, which has certainly been the case with Tan Mom. While Krentcil had already achieved a certain degree of notoriety for the allegations underlying her arrest, she was actually first on the show to promote her new line of skincare products. Regardless, it didn't take Stern long to recognize that Tan Mom was radio gold. His instincts proved right on the money when one of Stern's staffers called in, pretending to be Kelly Ripa and saying Krentcil looked like, quote, a burnt octopus.
You know what? Get over yourself, because you're really, really not pretty. I don't think you're pretty at all. I think you're ugly.
Then staffer Sal Governale called impersonating actor Ray Liotta and expressing a romantic interest in Krentcil. She instantly shifted gears, morphing from furious to seductive during a hilarious exchange in which Tan Mom shamelessly flirted with faux Liotta, who begged her to leave her husband for him. That became the first of numerous appearances on The Howard Stern Show, sparking what can be described as arguably one of the oddest showbiz careers of all time. After Sal Governale's Ray Liotta prank on Krentcil, the relationship between the two took a strange turn. It all began during a subsequent appearance when Governale appeared in the studio with her to discuss his amorous intentions, in X-rated detail. At first, Krentcil balked at his overtures, but after just a little persuading, she was sitting on his lap.
Smells like cigarettes and tanning cream.
You turned on right now, Sal?
Oh, very much so.
As Stern fans are well aware, however, Governale is married. It also didn't help that he and fellow staffer Richard Christie played a prank on Tan Mom in which they pretended to be at the climax of a sex act with each other when she walked in on them in an office, leading her to conclude they were gay lovers. Governale eventually revealed the whole thing was a stunt, and he and Krentcil made up by smoking cigarettes together. Krentcil confirmed her feelings toward Governale during an interview with the Kermit and Friends podcast, saying, "I love Sal. If he wasn't married, let's cut to the chase. That's another one of my phrases. I would have gone out with him." Tan Mom has certainly nailed the art of transforming notoriety into celebrity, but how would she fare in a more traditional work environment? That's what producers at The Howard Stern Show wanted to find out, and they put a plan in action that involved Patricia Krentcil being questioned by an HR professional in a faux job interview. Suffice it to say, the interview was a flat-out, full-on train wreck. Her answers to predictable questions were, let's say, revealing. One question, for example, asked how she would resolve conflict in the workplace if it were to occur, to which she responded, "Occasionally, we all snap, but don't get in my face. If somebody keeps being rude and obnoxious, staring and just looking at me or something, then I'll just be like, what do you want? That pisses me off. Excuse my Polish." As host Howard Stern observed, Tan Mom hadn't even come close to landing the job, yet had already managed to become embroiled in an imaginary fight with a non-existent coworker. Stern went on to tell his listeners that her responses epitomized how not to answer questions while being interviewed for a job. As Tan Mom continued to appear on The Howard Stern Show, she attracted the attention of Adam Barta, a music producer and reality TV personality who'd created novelty music singles with Alana Honey Boo Boo Thompson, RuPaul's Drag Race queen Eureka O'Hara, and even Nadia Octomom Sulman. Barta enlisted Krentcil and brought her into a recording studio, resulting in her first single, It's Tan Mom. According to Barta, Krentcil was the worst singer he'd ever worked with, revealing she was quite inebriated when she arrived in the recording studio. Despite the challenges of working with her, Barta re-teamed with Krentcil for a follow-up, Free to Be Me. The two even attempted to perform the song live in Stern's studio, and the performance predictably went hilariously off the rails.
You did your part, Adam. What went wrong in your producing when you figured this whole thing out?
I think she just got a little nervous.
The botched performance, however, did give Stern some insight into the chaotic process of recording with Tan Mom, as he later told listeners, "I thought she sang to music when she did these songs. She just goes in there and starts ranting and raving, and then they put it to music." Stern also told listeners he learned that Tan Mom initially thought the recording booth was a shower. Despite everything, the collaborations kept coming, in addition to their bonkers live online event dubbed Tan Talk, which eventually spawned a series with the same name on the streaming platform Tubi. As Tan Mom's notoriety grew, it was inevitable that the movies would beckon. In 2013, TMZ was the first outlet to report that Krentcil had signed a deal for her movie debut in a gay adult film. TMZ's sources revealed she was paid $1,000 for her role in the flick Kings of New York, in which she appeared fully clothed. In her scene, Tan Mom portrayed the owner of a tanning salon visited by some of the film's characters. According to the film's writer-director, Mark McNamara, working with a star of Krentcil's caliber was not without challenges. He wrote in an email to HuffPost, "We expected Patricia to need a bit of hand-holding, but when she showed up, we quickly found out we had to hold more than her hand to prop her seemingly inebriated body up. She seemed to be having a great time, but it was definitely a challenging day." Meanwhile, Krentcil's promotion of the film went off the rails when she attended Exotica Expo 2013. Her booth was situated next to that of adult film star Jenna Jameson, and let's just say they didn't get along, as it ended with Patricia getting aggravated and insulting Jameson. While Tan Mom's adult movie debut may not have gone smoothly, her television ventures have been far more within her wheelhouse. The first was Tan Talk, a talk show reality show of sorts she co-hosted with Adam Barta. Naturally, she called up Howard Stern to plug the project. Describing the show, she said they'd be welcoming celebrity guests, although they weren't exactly household names. Crystal, whom she described as a psychic, and Carla, both of whom she introduced without sharing last names. She revealed that she had reached out to John Stamos and Ryan Phillippe, but spoiler alert, neither has appeared on the show. Barta detailed the series to Outfront magazine, saying, "It's 3 episodes, and it does involve Tan Mom contacting Jeffrey Dahmer on a Ouija board, so there's that." In 2023, she returned with another show, #The Dish, once again partnering with Barta. #The Dish wasn't strictly a reality show, but more of a parody of reality shows. Also appearing were numerous drag queens and Here Comes Honey Boo Boo star Mama June Shannon. In addition, she also appeared in an episode of Jerry Springer's Judge Jerry, in which she pursued a somewhat dubious dispute against Barta.
That was a real stab in the back. I don't and will not work with him again.
There's truly no telling where Tan Mom's life and career will go next. Back in 2013, The Cut reported that Krentcil had ventured into the lifestyle lane with the launch of her blog, Tips from Tan Mom on Tumblr, in which she shared recipes, entertaining advice, and ideas on home decor. While Tips from Tan Mom apparently didn't last long and is now inactive, Krentcil similarly opened up her life to fans when she entered the world of social media. In fact, her Instagram page features everything from selfies to home Christmas decorations to a shout-out to the staff of a Boca Raton tanning salon. The controversial Church of Scientology has laid claim to many followers over the years, and during a 2017 appearance on The Howard Stern Show, Tan Mom revealed that she too had become a follower of the teachings of L. Ron Hubbard. During a conversation with a Stern Show staffer, Patricia Krentcil claimed to have been a Scientologist for more than 6 months. Asked what operating Thetan level she'd attained, she guessed she was maybe at level 4, but couldn't say for sure. She also had no idea who Hubbard was, had never had a reading from one of the church's e-meters, and didn't appear to have much basic information about Scientology at all, although she confirmed she had paid for courses. She said, "You have to forgive me, I'm not stupid. Everywhere I go for ridiculous reasons, people are weird, and I don't know why. So that's why I went to Scientology, because I thought it would make it better." Tan Mom's flirtation with Scientology opened the door for her musical collaborator Adam Barta to stage a prank, in which a woman impersonating ex-Scientologist Leah Remini called her up and begged her to leave. Tan Mom has not had an easy go when it comes to her health. Back in 2013, during an interview with CNN, she discussed the metal plate in her head.
Somebody hit me when they were on steroids, and I almost died twice. They had to put 3 plates in my head.
In 2019, reports emerged that Patricia Krentcil was in the ICU battling pneumonia and had been placed in a medically induced coma until doctors determined her lungs and heart had regained enough strength to function without medical intervention. According to her musical partner, Adam Barta, her condition was grave. Barta wrote in a statement to Us Weekly, "Currently, she's still on life support via the intubator and in a medically induced sleep until her heart and lungs are strong enough to handle functioning on their own. The fluid is draining from her lungs and she's improving today, but she is definitely not out of the woods." Amazingly, Krentcil emerged from her coma and said she was feeling fine. However, a family member told Page Six how close she'd come to death. Her heart stopped. She had CPR done for about 6 to 8 minutes. It was dire. For Tan Mom herself, it felt as if her whole physical being shut down, and she admitted that she was just happy to be alive. Krentcil had a somewhat contentious relationship with her husband, Richard. She filed for divorce in 2013 but didn't follow through. In fact, listeners of The Howard Stern Show often heard her berate him, even once bizarrely referring to him only as, quote, driver while he shuttled her to her favorite tanning salon. That all changed in June 2020 when her husband underwent emergency surgery after suffering a heart attack and stroke. After the surgery, he was diagnosed with colon cancer. The following year, he died, and Krentcil spoke to Insider about her late spouse, saying, "We had our ups and downs, but he was my best friend." She also told the outlet that she'd undergone a fundamental adjustment in how she chose to live, insisting she was ready to put her more extreme behavior behind her. She said, "I don't get disrespected anymore. I don't party or do any crazy things." At the time, she also insisted she was in no hurry to begin looking for love, preferring to focus on her children instead of pursuing a new romance. Krentcil's media-derived nickname came to define her, but that led to something of a conundrum when she made a decision to back away from tanning, at least temporarily. That decision, however, came about when In Touch magazine offered her a challenge to see if she could stop tanning for 1 entire month so that she could become less tan. She took the magazine up on it, with In Touch displaying before and after photos of her 30 days or so out of the sun. Krentcil told the magazine that many people told her that she looked better less tanned, but she admitted she wasn't sure that she bought into those opinions, saying, "I feel weird and pale." CNN's Anderson Cooper weighed in, admitting he was dubious that she'd managed to stay away from tanning in the long term.
"I'm not at all sure that moderation is her strong suit, so we'll see what happens. Before you know it, she could look like this again."
As Cooper predicted, Tan Mom's weird pale era didn't last long. As fans can attest, she jumped right back into the tanning bed, one that she owned, situated in her home. Interviewed by the New York Post in 2021, Krentcil revealed that she was still tanning in her bed twice a week. In 2023, Tan Mom was once again the topic of discussion between Howard Stern and co-host Robin Quivers. Amazingly, it didn't have to do with her antics, but was the result of a video screenshot that went viral due to its sheer nuttiness. In the pic, the Howard Stern Show staffer known as Wolfie is seated on a couch holding a microphone up to another man, who is identified as Krentcil's boyfriend. At first glance, it appears they're the only 2 people in the photo, until the realization sinks in that Tan Mom is in fact sitting between them, completely camouflaged by a skin tone that is an identical match with the dark brown sofa. When she first glimpsed the pic during an episode of The Howard Stern Show, Quivers was taken aback.
"Oh my God!
Yeah.
I'm telling you that
Yeah, all right,
cannot make her out."
The photo went viral on social media, and of course, it led to all manner of wisecracks. Tan Mom has never been accused of being predictable, and that was certainly the case when she announced she was running for the Senate in August of 2023. Campaigning as a Republican, she was challenging incumbent Florida Senator Rick Scott. As the candidate said in a statement to Fox News, "The thing with my campaign is that you know everything about me from the start. There's no skeletons or hidden secrets or shocking dirt to be revealed. What you see is what you get because my life has been documented. In an interview with TMZ, Krentcil explained what she had to offer the people of Florida as their representative in the Senate, saying, "I was horrified about the book banning of fear in Florida. There's just a lot of episodes that are going on here and nobody's addressing them." She also discussed her candidacy during an appearance on The Howard Stern Show. She insisted that her Senate run was no stunt and that she wasn't joking around. However, she was also candidly realistic about her chances within the political arena, saying, "I really want to be serious about this. I don't plan on winning, to be quite frank with you."